Hello everybody. Could you please write a comment or put a like at the chat box if you can see me and hear me clearly? Alright, thank you. I would like to take this opportunity and welcome you all to this training. My name is Manos Markakis. I have been an entrepreneur and a business consultant for more than 30 years. Today I will cover one of my favorite topics, how to deal with disappointment and failure. I can honestly say I have experienced some disappointments in my life, a few in business, but as we all know throughout life, we all experience many challenges, so it's good to learn on how to deal with every setback along the way. Why though is it important to learn how to deal with disappointment and failure? Well, let's face it, first of all, because the feeling sucks. Then, because we don't want to say or do something stupid that we'll later regret. And third, because failure is only a good lesson of what we need to change. So, what do we need to do when we feel disappointed? Martin Luther King said, "We must accept finding disappointment, but never lose infinite hope." The fact is that we will face disappointment from time to time, from our spouse, from our friends, from our family, from people that we love and trust, our co-workers, people that we look up for help and advice, even from people that we don't know but interact with them at some point. What should you do when you feel disappointed? First, you need to accept that you will encounter disappointment often. Understand that the best way to administer it is to acknowledge it and work through it. Then expect to be sad or angry or uncertain about your next steps. Unpleasant it may be, you can always learn something from it. Maybe you heard it, but sometimes the worst place you can be at is in your own head. When you learn how to overcome negative situations, you become more confident and you don't let emotions slow you down. There are so many things that can cause disappointment. I know it's easier said than done, but you need to learn how to handle calmly every difficult situation and come out stronger and smarter each time. Through a disappointment, it's the only way to find hidden life lessons. You will discover things about yourself, your feelings, your reactions, your strength, and much more. Now, let's go over some negative situations that cause disappointment. One is when nothing seems to work when you try different things. Are you following a system or are you trying to do whatever you think is right? Two is when things you're doing are not working out for a long time. Then maybe you need to improve your work habits, your marketing strategy, your interpersonal skills. You may have to reinvent yourself. Three is when some people, especially close ones, are not supportive of your goals and dreams. Well, you should know that your dreams are yours and yours only. Because other people are scared or gave up on their dreams, you should never give up on yours. Four is when you feel that you're wasting your time and effort on people you're trying to help, but they do not care or they are too stubborn to listen. Even if you're 100% correct, some people will always disagree with you and have different opinions. No worries, just move on with those who think similar with you. Another situation is when you have people on the same team working on a common goal, but putting less work and effort than you. You should never slow down because of them. Always be the example and make sure you set clear expectations. The sixth is when there are people you want to help bad, but you can't because they're jealous, small thinkers, feel inferior, or only care about themselves. You should try to paint the big picture and let them know that teamwork always brings better results and benefits all. Number 7, when people are not honest or fair, you should definitely confront them and set the standards. And number 8, When people want you and expect you to do whatever they need whenever they need it. Learn how to say no. It's much better to show and teach people what to do than do it for them. So basically, disappointments and failures do not really define you, but they prepare you for bigger and better things, and they make you stronger and wiser most of the time. Since I got involved in this kind of business, I really feel blessed because I learned how to overcome every difficult situation. Let me give you 9 powerful points how to handle possible disappointment at work. Number 1, after a disappointment, you have to look at your weaknesses. Figure out what you need to improve on. Number 2, you can be a crybaby or decide to take charge of the situation and show your strength. It's okay not to be okay at times. You don't need to pretend that everything is great, but please manage your emotions. Number 3, you need to reevaluate the situation, readjust your methods. Maybe you need to take alternative routes towards your goal. Number 4, you should definitely stay away from negative people. It is totally up to you to remain sad or look for motivation and inspiration. Number 5, why don't you try to learn new skills or improve those you're good at? This will boost your confidence and distract you from negative thoughts and emotions. Number 6, it doesn't matter how bad it is, you need to move on as soon as possible. It will not be easy, but it's necessary to take action. Number 7, even if it scares you to death, don't be afraid to accept responsibility and change the situation. Number 8, in order to get what you want, it means that you may have to move out of your comfort zone. You need to tolerate loss, risk, and uncertainty. Number 9, remember that whatever looks very difficult or impossible is until it's done. Some of you may have heard Tony Robbins saying, don't let disappointment defeat you, let it drive you. Now let me give you my version of Murphy's Law on disappointment. Number 1, after one disappointment, many more will follow. Number 2, the disappointment always hits you much harder than you expect. Number 3, be prepared to face disappointment in every aspect of life. Number 4, guaranteed that even your own self will disappoint you. Nobody's perfect, so don't expect yourself to be perfect at all times. Number 5, when things are going really good, expect the fall. It's always easier to reach the top than stay there forever. I'm sure we all have in our minds from time to time the question, what if? Well, guess what? You may be disappointed if you fall, but doomed if you don't try. Another great quote says, we learn from the small battles what it takes to win the war. So I think it's time to go over how you can cope with failure. First of all, don't be hard on yourself. You may have very high standards and high expectations, but if you don't succeed, it doesn't mean you're a failure. You're doing what you like, that's important, and you fail only when you stop trying. Never act when you're angry or you're feeling bad. Give yourself time to think clearly and reevaluate the situation. Number 3, you should never worry about what other people think. You can never control other people's thoughts, opinions, or how they judge us. Number 4, never fall into the trap of comparing yourself to others. Number 5, very important, define success on your own terms. Failure is a subjective term, so you have to define what success means to you. Number 6, never let your past determine your future. Things that happened in the past should not limit your desire and determination for future accomplishments. Number 7, it may not always be your fault. When things don't work out sometimes, it's not because you did something wrong. Number 8, be honest with yourself. After a failure, we have the tendency to look for excuses and someone else to blame. Take responsibility and look at the root of the problem. It will be much easier to fix it. Number 9, turn failure into a new challenge. Despite your best efforts, you may not always achieve your goals. If you don't give up and continue believing in the outcome, you will most probably get there. Persistence and determination are very important. Number 10, always don't believe in luck. Successful people didn't become successful by luck and overnight. They worked hard for a long time until they reached their goal. You should stay positive and create your own luck. Number 11, don't lose focus. You can overcome every obstacle when you have a very clear vision of your goal. It's also very important to focus on the process and not the results. Number 12, attach yourself to your desire, not the outcome. Number 13, it doesn't really matter how many times you fail, if at the end you reach your goal. And number 14, know where to ask for help when you need it. Use a mentor or an experienced coach, not someone who had a similar failing experience. Now, would you like some examples of people who thought at some point were considered failures? The examples are endless, but here's a few. Let's start. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, said, "I have not failed. I just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Michael Jordan, maybe the greatest basketball player ever, was cut from his high school basketball team. The Beatles were rejected by Decca recording studios because they didn't like the sound and they thought they had no future in the music business. Albert Einstein, he had speech difficulties until he was 4. He failed his Zurich Polytechnic exams. Colonel Sanders, he was rejected 1,009 times before a restaurant agreed to use his Kentucky Fried Chicken recipe. Walt Disney, fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination and no original ideas. Can you imagine? Jack Ma, he had dozens of job application rejections. Steve Jobs, he was fired from his own company. Bottom line, you should not be afraid to fail. Please allow me to finish the presentation with a couple of thoughts. A proverb says, failure is not falling down, but refusing to get up. I say, don't let today's disappointments cast a shadow on tomorrow's dreams. At this point, I would like to thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you soon at another training session. Goodbye.